Welcome to KMET 1490 AM ABC News Radio and the Southern California Business Report with Yvette Walker, a show dedicated to highlighting successful Southern California businesses and the people behind them.
Welcome, and thank you for joining Southern California Business Report on ABC News and Talks, KMET 1490 AM, 98.1 FM, and KMET TV. I'm Yvette Walker, live, blasting our signal from the center of Southern California, serving a population of over 25 million. Get us crystal clear and on demand by downloading the free live streaming app on Google Play and the Apple App Store. As always, a huge shout out to the team. Mitch, Bill, and Sean, I love you guys. And to our special advisory committee that can be found at www.scbrtalk.com/advisory committee. Click on the link and learn about the leaders doing the incredible work. Okay, everybody, today I am so excited and privileged to introduce Bay Area native Tony Gemignani, chef and owner of Gemignani Restaurant Group, who is a 13-time World Pizza Champion, 4-time Guinness World Record holder, author of Pizza Bible, prolific philanthropist, and renowned San Francisco restaurateur. A steadfast supporter of North Beach, Gemignani's flagship restaurant, Tony's Pizza Napolitana, and eateries such as Capo's Slice House, Toscano, Brothers Bakery, and Giovanni's Italian specialties are rooted in San Francisco's historic Italian neighborhood. Gemignani continued his investment in the community this year by launching San Francisco's first ever pizza, bagel, and beer festival that debuted to a sold-out crowd spanning Filbert and Stockton streets. Additionally, in 2023, Gemignani launched a franchise program for Slice House, which now has over 100 locations under development across this country. Originally from Fremont, California, Tony grew up cooking alongside his mother, who taught him how to prepare fruits and vegetables harvested from the family farm. This philosophy of creating recipes around fresh, seasonal ingredients has stayed with him throughout his culinary career and is reflected across his menus. After graduating from high school, Tony worked as a pizza maker at his brother's acclaimed Pyzano's Pizzeria in Castro Valley, where he quickly began growing his impressive skills. Now, Tony, thank you so much for being with us today. Having over 100 restaurants in development with rolling, grand openings is quite an undertaking. I'm sure extremely time consuming. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Perfect. So, as you know, the first question I ask every one of my guests is to please talk a little bit about your journey and what inspired you to pursue, the path of now becoming the pizza guru we see today.
Well, I started in 1991, just getting out of high school, wasn't sure what I was going to do, didn't know if I was going to go to college. My brother had the idea of opening up a pizzeria, and I started it. My friends went to college. I kind of started making pizzas, and I fell in love with it. 33 years from then on, from to now, it's been quite a career. Here I was this independent operator. I was there with my brother for 17 years. Left and did Tony's Pizza Napolitana in San Francisco, an historic North Beach, Little Italy, part of San Francisco. And that grew from the original Slice House to Capo's, a bakery, a little store that I opened called Giovanni's, into Vegas, and opened up Pizza Rock. And I had traveled around the world. I won competitions. I did Guinness Book of World Records. I kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to pizza, and I look at it in its entirety. And then during COVID, I had Slice House, and it was almost COVID proof. Our Slice Houses were doing well during COVID. The larger locations, Pizza Rocks, more seats. The places that were much bigger restaurants were struggling a little bit. So during COVID, we said, let's come out of COVID as a franchise. The Slice Houses were doing great in the Bay Area. We had some in other areas, like in casinos and ballparks and things. So we came out, and now we have almost 150 in development. It's been gangbusters. It's been really crazy, actually. So, but at the same time, a little nerve wracking. Here's this independent guy. I've had, as much control over my operations as possible. And now we're teaching our franchisees how to make great pizza, and they're opening up in certain areas that are pretty amazing, like Inland Empire and East Vale and things like that. So it's been quite a journey. It's been 33 years for me, but it's very exciting to see the forecast.
Absolutely. And I think I mentioned as a mother of three, I have definitely had my fair share of pizza. But the first time I tried a slice from your slice house, I was shocked and amazed at how incredibly crispy and flavorful that pizza was. And this is someone that's been enjoying pizza all my life, along with my children and various types of pizzas. But this one was amazing.
Thank
So
you.
please tell us about what makes Slice House Pizza so unique.
Well, you start off with the dough. I mean, the dough is the platform, is the canvas for any great pizza, and it's the quality ingredients. When we talk about our dough, we make a starter, a pre-ferment that goes into our dough. It's like what you think of, sourdough bread that gives us its distinct flavor, or has a nice crumb structure, or is aromatic. We put starters in all of our dough. The flour I have is my own flour. I have my own tomato line. One is from California, which is grown in Stanislaus, and another one that's a San Marzano that's grown in the Campania region of Italy. So specific ingredients, the cheese I've used for 33 years, Grande cheese. It's like the Ferrari of cheeses in the industry. So when you look at the consistency, the quality, you look at the platform, the dough, it's, we kind of have anything and everything when it comes to pizza. The styles are unique. We offer different styles of pizza. So typically when you go into a pizzeria, you say, okay, here's a New York style, here's a Chicago style. But, we do Detroit, Grandma, Sicilian, New York. We're landing in areas that are sometimes suburbs of bigger cities that may have not heard of these styles, and like, wow, that's my new favorite. So that, along with fresh pasta, fresh pesto, it's a very scratch-driven restaurant. And when you look at that, it's a very unique concept. And you can get it by the slice and say, whoa, let me try this one out. It's totally different. Purple potatoes, pesto, feta, rosemary. That's interesting. You try it out, and then the next time you may buy a whole pie for delivery or to go or for dine-in. So you can at least sample a style that you may not be too worried about. You're like, I don't know if I want to spend all this money on this one pizza, but then you fall in love with it. So it's great to land in areas that don't have different variety of pizzas, and we kind of do. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Tony, talk about growing up on a farm and how that influenced your appreciation and understanding of, quality ingredients.
Yeah, so I grew up on a farm of about 20 acres in Fremont. I used to think it was 30 acres. My dad said, no, it's closer to 20. When you're a kid, you think everything's so giant. We had apricots, cherries, fava beans. We dried apricots. I did that up until I was 18 years old, but we had lemons, limes, oranges. I mean, we'd sit up on top of the roof and have nectarines during the summer and have tree forks at big trees. And I know it sounds like some people might say, well, that doesn't sound like anything in California, like parts of California. But if you grew up in a farm area and you're surrounded by farm land, and that guy had 30 acres and that farmer over there had 100 and you had 20, it was a really special way of growing up. If we ran out of tomatoes, we ran out of squash, zucchini, basil, we didn't necessarily go to the grocery store. We went in the backyard, we grabbed it, and I watched my mom cook. My dad would come home from work at 6. We'd come home from school at around 3. We'd watch my mom cook as we did our homework from 3 to 6. And just growing up and looking over as she was making that sauce, that pasta sauce that was just so amazing. It had a lot of flavor. And, when I cooked for people or you come into my restaurant, there's large portions. I mean, my mom, that's how she cooked. It wasn't like you were searching for more food. You went home with more food than you had at my house, and everybody would come over to my parents' house because they knew they'd be able to bring tons of food home and pasta and pizza and things like that. So I cooked how my mom cooked. Of course, I kind of went professionally into it. I learned the styles. I learned a lot more obviously about pizza. But yeah, a lot of it was that foundation of my grandfather, who was the farmer. And you think of farm to table, and that was my mom, and she'd bring it to the table. So it was a special time growing up. And, I live in Alamo, California now, which is about 30 minutes from San Francisco, or 2.5 hours. Depends on the traffic. But I have about 1.5 acres. I have a little boy named Giovanni. I have a little vineyard. We have apricots. We grow figs. We have watermelons. So I try to make it as close to what I had growing up for my little boy.
I love it. And farm to table is kind of a new phrase, but you had the privilege of living it. How remarkable.
Yeah, it was special. Like my grandpa grew the biggest carrots. He just grew anything, kumquats. Like we had everything there, and he had chickens and you had things like that. But yeah, it's almost like he had every single varietal of something. Beets. I mean, like you name it, he grew it. So
That is remarkable. So it definitely runs in the family. You started to talk about the different styles and the diversity of the types of pizzas. Can you go into that a little bit more? Because when I went and I visited, I saw these combinations and these, pies that I had never seen before, but they were amazing.
yeah, so I opened up Tony's and we had all these ovens, all these styles. We have 13 styles of pizza. Capo has 5 different styles of Chicago. And when I ventured off and did Slice House, I said, okay, how do I kind of do it? One oven, maybe have it triple stacked, meaning 3 chambers with different heat sources. How do I have one dough recipe and how do I offer New York, Sicilian, grandma, pan pizza, Detroit, gluten free, and how do I all make it work out of a Slice House and make it as user friendly and as easy to execute as possible for a franchisee? So I was able to do that. And if I were to say, okay, what's the difference? You're saying all these words: Sicilian, grandma, Detroit. Those are all pan pizzas. Sicilian could be the thickest to Detroit to pan fried grandma. So if you like a thin, very well oiled pan fried pizza, grandma would be it. We do a sweeter sauce that we ladle over the top, post bake with fresh mozzarella and some of the other things that go on it. Or you may say, I like this caramelized cheese edge, like a Detroit, in this pan pizza that has cheddar, brick, and mozzarella around it, but you're chiseling it out, and it almost has that flavor profile of like a slightly burnt mac and cheese that has that really good residual cheddar flavor. So you're like, okay, I love that side of it. Or a fluffy Sicilian that's still crispy on the bottom. Or forget all the pans. I want to be like John Travolta, New York, slice, folded, it cracks, but it doesn't break. Crispy on the bottom, airy in the middle, and you eat it, and that oil drips down, and you're like standing on the side of Eastvale on the street. Like, this is great. You gotta you can get into anything that you want in Slice House. So thick, thin, round, square, and kind of have it. And then, then we have gluten free and we have vegan options. So Bay Area, San Francisco, a lot of vegans, a lot of vegetarians. So if you wanted to substitute on a few styles of pizza, it's called Selfish Cow, and this cheese isn't available to the consumer. It's only in the restaurant world. It's one of the best vegan cheeses you'll have, and it's a plant-forward product. It's really great. So we have a lot of options there. And if somebody is either gluten-free or vegan, you can get that. Even with the vegan pepperoni that we have, that when you eat it, you're like, is this meat? You're like, no, it's not. It's actually like real, like it's made out of vegetables, and it's a spicy type pepperoni that's pretty amazing.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I didn't have the opportunity to try that, but I love that you took various, dietary needs and preferences into account when, developing the Slice House, because everyone loves pizza, but if you're, gluten intolerant or if you
Yeah.
want to be vegan, it's sometimes obviously going to be challenging to find something that's going to suit your dietary needs or preferences. But the fact that you took all of that into account and not only created a pizza, but a pizza, like you said, that is crispy when you bite it, airy in the center, super flavorful.
Yeah, thank
My
you.
mouth
And
is watering.
if you're celiac or you're a vegetarian or something, you don't want to be the odd person out in a group, and you're like, oh, I wonder if they have that there. I mean, I think that's tough. And I've been on diets before, and I'm sure you have. And I'm like, can't have that many carbs, or I want to not eat meat, or just not eat cheese. So there are options there. Not a ton, but we do have that available, and they're very good options. Sometimes when you're a chef, you can be too proud and say, I'm not going to do that. This is what I'm cooking. This is what it is.
Right.
I've never been like that. And I'm a pineapple guy. I can say I like that. Some people say I can never put pineapple on a pizza. I'm not proud. I can admit it. So not like a lot of chefs. So there are a lot of options, a lot of, healthier options. And I think that's important to have a diverse menu. It can be spicy, it can be vegetarian, it can be healthy. So
Absolutely. And it's just perfect. And I love that you use like a sourdough type base for your crust. I personally have a soy allergy. So a lot of doughs tend to have soybean oil, soybean flour, but the caliber of ingredients that you have are just so pure and like they say, the less ingredients, the better. It's more
yeah,
fresh and more healthy as
less
well.
is more. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's about the quality of the ingredient, not the quantity so much. So it's important to look at that when you're cooking in general. So
I love it. And so please talk again about what sets the ingredients you use apart. My understanding is you import some of the, staple ingredients that you use every day.
yeah, so we import like Parmigiano Reggiano that's almost 2 years old. We have prosciutto di Parma that's 24 months old. So there are ingredients that we bring in, like a San Marzano, but then we also bring in, grande cheese from Wisconsin or another cheese that's a brick cheese and things like that. So specific ingredients for specific styles are important, just like a cheddar that I add to brick, which is important for like a Detroit style pizza. So, the ovens are Italian manufacturers that came from Italy that manufacture electric brick ovens. So they're, like I said, it's almost like a Lamborghini parked in
Wow.
your restaurant. It's this, triple stack electric oven. It's probably as expensive as any car that you could probably buy, but it's a pizza oven. So yeah, when you look at equipment, it's important. We also use a reverse osmosis system in all of our restaurants. So we take any water that could be super hard or just way too complex, and we basically make it so it's about 40 to 70 parts per million. So it's a moderately hard. It's basically a soft water going into our dough. As you grow and you have dough that goes, into Eastvale and you go into Utah and you go to Tennessee and you go into San Francisco, you want the dough to be consistent. So if your water is not consistent, your dough won't be as consistent. So I have reverse osmosis systems pretty much everywhere other than like in San Francisco. Outside of San Francisco, Walnut Creek, everywhere else, which is like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, we have reverse osmosis because water going in your dough is very important.
I mean, talk about quality control. You thought of everything, including a reverse osmosis to make sure the dough is reacting properly to the water.
Yeah, people say New York water, it makes bagels and pizza so good. It's not that you're drinking this water that's like, oh my God, it's amazing. That's not because it tastes so amazing and you're putting it in your dough and your dough tastes amazing. But does it react with your yeast better? Does it rise better? Does it stretch better? Does it not snap back? Do you not have to make up with more water because it's so hard? So the water in the Bay Area is great. There's some water in Chicago is great. New York's great. But as you start going to other parts and growing like Nevada, Nevada is very hard water. You try water in your hotel room, you're like, whoa, this tastes terrible. Or you wash your hair and all of a sudden you're in Nevada and your hair is like bing, like and dry. You know what that means, right? You're like,
Oh yes, oh yes.
So if hard water, soft water react with your hair, hard water, soft water reacts with your dough. So softer it is, the more relaxed your dough is going to be. The harder it is, your dough is going to be like, and you don't want it to be like that. You want it to be more relaxed.
Absolutely. And hair too. Soft water for the hair is
Yeah, look at that. It looks great, by the way. You look amazing.
Thank you. Lots of brushing. But please talk about your recent grand opening in Eastvale.
So super busy. The Badas are a group. There are franchisees there. Aman and Hassan are there, and they're killing it. It's super busy. It's a small store, and I'm with there, and the two brothers are there, and they have a Handel's ice cream restaurant that just opened. So it's like you got the best ice cream and the best pizza right next to each other. And it's pretty amazing. They have a great family. They have great wives, great kids, and parents. And yeah, when we went there, they said Eastvale has to be the first one. They have 8 coming in that area. You'll see Riverside coming soon. Lots of families, lots of great people. People were actually coming from Riverside which I believe is 35 or 40 minutes away. And it was just awesome. And then I saw customers from my restaurants in Vegas at the Sphere. They go to Pizza Rocks and in San Francisco. So you kind of had some of my customers come that were saying, "Oh, we live here now," or "We love it here," or "We used to come all the way up to see you in San Francisco. Now we just can be in Eastvale." So it's a really cool little shopping center, and it's a little place that's does a lot. So it was pretty nice to see. Yeah.
Certainly. So I absolutely adore Naya. She's the person that reached
Nice,
out
great.
and yes, introduced me to the Slice House on the soft opening is when I went. She sent me home with two of the most beautiful pizzas because she knows I have the kids and I was the hero for the week. But my goodness, even my son commented, he goes, that was good pizza.
Oh,
you
that's
know,
nice.
and
And the
teenagers don't
brothers are
really
pretty
notice
funny.
that stuff.
The brothers are cool too. I was there, and they're like watching me, and I'm kind of working with the crew, and they get in there, and like I said, it's all about. If I want to teach you how to do something, and you're receptive about it, and you just want to make it as good as you can, they're very much like that. They want to make it right. They love it. When they found out that I was franchising, they were always kind of a fan of my pizza up in Northern California. So for them to kind of come together, we met in Walnut Creek. We talked a lot. They said, "Hey, we're used to the franchise world. This is what we do. Some of our concepts we have, but we really want to do pizza." And for them to kind of, people say what they say, and then you meet them. They really said, "We're going to do it, and we're going to make it great. And Eastvale's going to be first," and it was pretty awesome. So they meant what they said, and it's been a great relationship.
Absolutely. And so, in my conversations with Naya and the Bada Food Group, I know that food quality and ingredients are of the tantamount importance. And, with handles, with all of the fresh ingredients, and basically made to order ice cream on location, as well as nectar with all of those fresh juices and just health consciously prepared. Slice House and the ingredients and what we're learning about it today fits perfectly in there. And it's just exciting to see that you have a first location in the Inland Empire that all of our audience could be super proud of. We're very proud of our Riverside and San Bernardino counties and the fact that we are an incredible economic catalyst that is bursting at the seams with growth, career opportunities, and now excellent food.
Yeah, it's awesome, right? And their places are clean. I was able to go in and do them, and you go into people's kitchens, and was I getting a juice every day at Nectar? Yeah, it was like
Of
amazing. I love
course.
it. Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite places. Even before I met them, and they're like, "Yeah, we own some Nectars." I'm like, "No way!" I'm like, "That's great." So I was at Nectar. I would go to Handles. Did I gain 7 pounds on the Eastvale trip? I think I did actually. But no, they're great partners to have, and it's for me that's important because it's new. We have 100 and almost 150 in development. We're meeting a lot of groups and a lot of great people, and we're opening. And I'm this is my life, and I'm giving it to you, and I hope you can keep doing it. And it's been a great relationship, like I said.
I absolutely adore it. So what are your goals for the Slice House? I hear you are at 150 locations. Are you looking to kind of taper that or continue to grow or maybe even go international?
Building the infrastructure is important. Hiring the right people, the right team to give support. You open, you can't just open up and leave and never come back. You have to support. So there's a lot of updating, upgrading, knowing what we know and what we don't know, and hiring in the right positions to be able to really give the support to our franchisees like they need. And as we're growing out of state, you're seeing Tennessee, Utah, Arizona, Colorado, Dallas, Fort Worth. You're seeing a lot of those open up, and a ton in LA as well. Burbank, which will be next. Castro Valley is in Northern California, which will be next. So a lot of growth. All of them are kind of staggered. You'll get 4 in a row, and then there's a couple months, and it's like 3. So trying to build the infrastructure to really be able to handle that is important. But it's been an interesting road, and we've met a lot of great people so far, and we've hired some amazing people that have taken a lot of weight off of my shoulders and my partner.
I absolutely love it, Tony. Okay, we're coming on I want to break everybody. Yvette Walker with ABC News and Talk Southern California Business Report here today with Tony Gemignani, who is a culinary virtuoso and record-breaking phenomenon in the world of pizza tossing as the chef and owner of Gemignani Restaurant Group, who holds over 20 national and world titles, as well as 4 Guinness World Records to his name. Tony has redefined the art of pizza. His unparalleled skill, passion, and commitment to the craft have made him a legendary figure in the culinary world, captivating audiences and earning him a well-deserved place in gastronomic history. When we return.
Ontario International Airport is on to a better way to fly with over 65 daily non-stop flights to more than 20 major destinations and the easiest airport experience in Southern California. Visit flyonto.com/Ontario to learn more about Ontario International Airport today.
Hi, I'm Dana Rademacher with MGR Property Management.
A lot of people wonder about the value that property management has for their property. Property management can include all property types, including residential, commercial, and HOA. It is valuable because property managers are experienced in what can happen at your property. We're aware of liabilities. We're able to do predictive and preventative maintenance. We know what is coming up with the changes in the weather, the seasons, how old certain aspects or different capital projects at your property are. We're able to best negotiate contract pricing, legalities with your tenants, and anything else that you may need to ensure that you're getting the full value of the property. If you're interested in speaking with the representative at MGR Property Management regarding your property management needs, you can visit our website at mgrrealestate.com, or you can call our number at area code 909-581-6600 to be connected with the representative.
Cal State San Bernardino is home to the only school of entrepreneurship in California. With globally ranked degree programs, you can start your journey today to become a successful entrepreneur. Learn more and connect at entre.csusb.edu.
We are the Empire Strikers, the professional sports team of the Inland Empire. We are a fast-actioned and community-inspired pro indoor soccer team. Our mission is to inspire the Empire. Home games, community events, watch parties, and youth camps are all back. Professional indoor soccer is back. Join us and come watch the greatest show on turf at Toyota Arena or on Twitch. Visit www.theempirestrikers.com for more and any information.
Hi, I'm San Bernardino County Sheriff Shannon Dykes. If you're looking to start an exciting career in law enforcement and make a difference in your community, we are hiring dispatchers, nurses, deputies, laterals, and many more. For a complete list of our jobs and more information, visit sheriffsjobs.com.
The University of La Verne is rated first in California for alumni satisfaction. Learn more about accelerated programs offered online and on campus in La Verne, Irvine, Ontario, Burbank, or College of the Canyons. Visit go.laverne.edu. The University of La Verne. go.laverne.edu.
Welcome back, everyone. Yvette Walker with ABC News and Talk, Southern California Business Report, here today with Tony Gemignani, who is a culinary virtuoso and record-breaking phenomenon in the world of pizza tossing as a chef and owner of Gemignani Restaurant Group, who holds over 20 national and world titles, as well as 4 Guinness World Records to his name. Thank you again for being with us today, Tony.
Thanks for having me.
So prior to the break, we went over the history of how Slice House was developed, the way you were able to prioritize the quality, consistency, and level of ingredients that you use every day, even down to the best of the best equipment for your franchisees. But before we go any further, I'm so curious. Please share with us the Guinness World Book of Records that you hold.
So it was a Food Network competition for best pizza and 3 records. I won for best pizza on that with pizza called the Calif that actually is available at Slice House in every style that we offer. And then there was some Guinness records. So one was biggest pizza in 2 minutes, which was paper thin out of like a 15-ounce dough. That ended up being about 36 inches, but for being such a small dough, it was a record that nobody could break, and it was somebody who did it in Paris, France, years and years ago, and ended up doing that on the Food Network. Most consecutive rolls across the shoulders on the Food Network. I ended up getting, I believe, 36 or 37 in 30 seconds. I have the longest pizza in the world. We did that in LA, actually, at a raceway out there. Fontana Raceway, right? Yeah.
Of course, we know the Fontana Raceway. We love Fontana.
We did over a mile pizza with a bunch of pizza makers that flew in. It took us like over 30 hours to do. We did it overnight. It was one of those, if you're to say, which record would you never do again? I would never do that one again. It was just exhausting, almost impossible to do, because you had to do the record, and then you had to make the dough, and then you had to decorate the pizza, and you had to cook it, get it. You basically had to get the adjudicator to do the length, and you had to cut it, box it. It had to be consumed within 4 hours. So you have this basically over mile-long pizza that you had to get in boxes and give away to all these charitables and everything like that. And people were picking them up, and then Guinness would call those people, organizations, what have you, and say, did you get 30 pizzas, and did you actually eat them? And they would have to say yes, and if you didn't, then you would get docked so many inches. So it was a record that was done by Italy. It was done in Italy by a group that was supposedly impossible to break. And then when we did it in the U.S., we had all these health restrictions where the health department came in and everything, and they said, no, you have to cook it, consume it, and do all this. And they didn't have to do that in Italy, and we had to. So it was very, very, very hard. It took a lot of money. We had great sponsors that were behind it. Ital ovens, we had Caputo, we had cheese companies that were behind it. So we couldn't do it with a lot of them. But when we were doing it overnight, and when that sun came out, and it was blistering hot, and it was pretty intense, actually.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. And under the most difficult conditions, right? So you have the weather, you have the food agency there watching over your shoulder, making sure you're minding your P's and Q's.
Yeah, and then you would have this dough that was thin and flat, and the raceway curve. So you would have a curve, and we had this oven that would roll over it and cook it, and it would roll over, and then it would get stuck, and we'd have to push the oven, and it was pretty tiresome. It was going to be on the beach at one time, but the seagulls were said they would come down and take the pizza, so that got scratched, and we're going to do it in Fontana, and we're lucky enough to do it there. It was pretty awesome. If you do a search for world's longest pizza, Fontana Raceway, you'll see it come up, and it's some cool stuff you'll see online.
Yes, the Fontana Speedway. It's definitely a gem in the city of Fontana. That is awesome. Okay, so let's talk about what it means to become a franchisee of Slice House, and how that's different from being a sole, operator launching your own pizza restaurant.
Yeah, so you're a franchisee and you're interested in opening up any concept, and it's something that you want to be a business owner. You don't really have the playbook. You want to learn how to serve great ice cream, pizza, tacos, whatever. And being a franchisee is very similar to being a student of mine. I ran the International School of Pizza for 15 years. I had it in San Francisco. I was one of the few guys that could certify you in different styles of pizza. You came to me, I taught you how to make Roman style. You went off to your city or hometown, and you basically did what I taught you, and you opened up your restaurant. So I was doing that for many years. And now I'm with a franchisee that wants to open up 5 locations here, 10 locations there, and they have the funding. They just need to be taught how to make great pizza and execute it every night and build their systems and teams. So it's very much like what I was doing on a different level, but being able to coach or teach. I mean, My dad was my soccer coach. It's all about organized players. It's a team effort. It's never about that one person that's just great and nobody else matters. A restaurant is the front of the house, back of the house, bartender, barback, server, line cook, pizza maker, busboy, everything. So when you come from systems and ops like that and be able to like work as a team and teach people, I think it's not easy, but it's easier than, because I've been doing it for a long time. And I have a lot of systems and operations, like in the 49ers and the Raiders and Sphere and the Warriors and the San Francisco Giants, in casinos and things like that. So even though I was this independent guy that owned some restaurants, I also had groups. I licensed. I've done a lot of things over the years, and now we're this franchise. And it's just great to be able to teach somebody how to do something great. I mean, I could be my own person, but it's that coach, my dad, that kind of did that, and he always found great players. And I always was a kid and be like, why? We had really good soccer teams, and I would always watch that, and I didn't understand that at the time. I would just say, I guess my dad knew how to pick good players, but it's developing and coaching employees, players. It's important, and some people are better, some people are faster, but it's about how to bring everyone together to win the game.
Absolutely.
And every night in a restaurant business, it's a big game.
Yes, indeed. A big game across the country, which is remarkable when you put everything into perspective, right? So as a potential franchise owner or franchisee, you're looking at, acquiring those 33 plus years of all of your knowledge and systems in one package, ready to go and unlock, right, the pizza Bible, so to speak.
Yeah, and they have to understand the culture. I created a culture, and I think that's important. And I think that if you understand my culture or our culture together, I think they come to North Beach, they come to Little Italy. This is the first one that's been made. You take them in the neighborhood. We go to Trieste and have a coffee, and we go here, and they kind of feel it. And sometimes you'll see franchises that they say, yeah, I learned how to make Handel's ice cream. We went to the first one, and we went to wherever it was, Ohio, and it was downtown. It was so old, and kind of feel that to understand that, for me, it just wasn't this guy that created something and now he's going to multiply it. It was 33 years of hard knocks, and like I said, I didn't go to college. I didn't build this to be what it is now. At the time, it was very hard, and I didn't have a lot of help when I was younger. I didn't have a lot of help where I can go, hey, this is business, or I went to business school or anything. So to be able to teach my son or my franchisee or whoever else I'm helping to maybe not make those mistakes and how to make better pizza, because you couldn't Google it back in the day. You couldn't find it on Amazon. There wasn't things that you had to source it. You had to take trips, and you had to learn from people. And I did a lot of that. I was on the road a lot. And I learned a lot of styles, and I was there in Naples, in Florida, to Fargo, to Naples, Italy. I mean, I've been kind of everywhere making pizza. So I think those personal journeys that I've done to be able to share that with my franchisees are very important. It's just like, here's your book, that's your playbook, yeah, but there's a culture here that you need to understand, and I think that's very important when it comes to a brand.
Absolutely. And so you mentioned your son Giovanni. Please talk about the prospects of him following in your shoes, as well as what that, family, work, pizza development process looks like in terms of, balancing, calibrating, and making sure everything is taken care of.
Yeah, balancing, it's one of those things. You think of food as being balanced, and then you think of your life. You have 3 kids, and you're like, how do I balance it all, work and play? And I try to get better at that. He likes to come to work with me. He loves to make pizzas. I mean, he loves to eat pizza. I mean, what kid doesn't love pizza? But he loves to make it, and he goes to work without me. He'll go to Walnut Creek Slice House, which is 15 minutes away. My wife will drop him off, leave him there for 2 to 3 hours. He'll come home and say, "You gonna pay me, Pa?" "I'll pay you, buddy. Yeah, I'll get you." And he likes to get in the dough. I toss pizzas with the Giants and sometimes with different organizations like the A's. I did a first pitch the other day. He was on the field with me. He has come to a lot of festivals and fairs. So he enjoys it. I don't push him to do anything. I don't want to be that kind of dad, but he actually loves it. He enjoys it. So yeah, I just love to be able to be next to him. He's kind of pushing out dough and I'm saucing a pizza and I'm kind of teaching him, hey, do it like this. And he listens and it's really nice. It's really self-rewarding. And, all of a sudden now there's a new chapter in my life and I'm watching him make pizzas and it's pretty awesome.
I love it. And so you mentioned your wife, and as we know, it's like you said, it's a team effort. Please talk about the importance of having a supportive spouse, someone that can, support you and elevate your efforts and, make sure everything in the background is held in place.
Yeah, your biggest cheerleader in life should be your spouse, and I think that's important. And she always has. She always listened to me when a lot of things that I did, restaurant with all these styles. I want to write a book. I want to do a children's book. I think I could do this, or I think I could come out with this. Yeah, she's always been like, go for it. My mom was very much like that too. My mom was a shy lady. She wasn't allowed to cut her hair when she was younger. She didn't go past high school, wasn't allowed to get her license. And she had a tough time growing up. And she said, I don't want this to be like for you. I want you to have confidence. She said, I don't have any confidence. And whatever you do, if you want to dress like that, you dress like that. You do that. My mom always pushed me to be who I wanted to be. So my wife was very much like that as well. And she's an amazing cook. She's Sicilian. She teaches my son values, and that's very important. So it's always about foundation, and I think that's important. And you teach them young, and you stick with it, and you teach them what it's like to work in life, and what's it like to love in life, and things like that, and family and tradition. And I think that comes out in their work ethic.
Only the most important things in life, right?
Yeah,
But it's just remarkable, and it's so inspiring to see how successful you are and what a great team you make along with your family. Please talk about what the schedule looks like for the 100 slice houses that are coming online. I know you said they're kind of popping up sporadically. Do you have kind of like an end date or a start date, or what does that look like? Is it just fluctuating?
Well, if it's my schedule, it's a 4:30 a.m. I'm jogging and walking, working out. Then I'm starting my day. It's gone from 6:30 to 5:30 to almost 4:30. When I look at the schedule of openings, we have Burbank that's coming soon and Castro Valley, which is in Northern California. And we have Utah that's coming after that. But like I said earlier a little bit, you're going to see Arizona. Tennessee's in the middle of a pretty nice build out too in Franklin. So out of state, lots in LA. You'll see San Diego coming up. And if you look at the next 5 years, there's quite a few in the pipeline. I would say in the next 3 years, there's tons. After that, you don't know if there's a state that comes to us, because 18 months ago, you and I could have talked about a one-off. Yeah, I want to do one place here. I think it's great. Then it got into, we want to do 8, which is kind of considered clusters. Wow. And then some people say we want the entire county. And then you get, I want the state. And you get some groups that want the state. California is big. Texas is big. We see Utah, Colorado. You see other states, Tennessee, that aren't as big. And there could be maybe 3 or 6 slice houses in that state, because it's not a Subway that goes in every city or whatever that you might see, or a 7-Eleven or wherever you might want to say it. We look at demographic. We do run numbers. We do look at average, income. We go look at a lot of those. So if you were to say, yeah, we're going to give you the state of Utah, it's not going to say, okay, we're going to do 50. And we're not like that. We'll say, okay, Salt Lake could go 2, and this could be 1, and then there's this city, and that's pretty much what we'll do. We want our franchisees to be successful. We don't want them to be too close to each other, so we look at the mile radiuses, but depending on the mile radiuses, a mile radius in San Francisco may be different than Stockton or something like that. So we do look at a lot of that, and we do a lot of data, and there's a whole section of my business, of my company, that I'm not even too familiar with, that handles all that to make sure that it's done right or try to improve it. So there's a lot of layers involved. There is, and it's become a machine. And will there be 500 in development in 2 years? There might be. I'm not sure. We don't want to grow too fast, but at the same time, you would have asked me right when we came out of COVID, when we became a franchise, would I have 150 in development? No, I would have said no way. And then all of a sudden, look at us now. So
Oh my goodness, that is amazing. And so I love that you are sensitive to not oversaturating, a particular location and having this cannibalization effect, right? Of competing slice houses that are competing against one another. Very, very
yeah, there's a
smart.
delivery factor now too. Before that, you never really saw like you didn't have the Door Dashes and the third parties that were there, and you have a franchisee here, a franchisee there, and all of a sudden they're going into their zones and you're trying to control it, but there's a third party factor that doesn't really maybe worry about it as much as two different franchisees. So there's certain things that, delivery, catering, that you don't want to be a factor. Sure, if somebody owns an area and it's your own store, that's not as big of a problem. But if you're kind of near somebody else, another franchisee, we don't want that. So we're trying to prevent that as much as we can. So.
Absolutely. So, also, please talk about your mission and your philanthropic work. You did mention that you have philanthropic, activities, and you serve the community. Please share a little bit about that.
Yeah, so over the years, I've worked with some organizations like Family House, which has been closed. They're up in Northern California. They're a house that have kids that have life-threatening illnesses that they try to make it as comforting for the families and kids as much as they can. I've been working with them for years and years, going back to like my Pyzano brother pizzeria days, so 17 years ago, almost 20 years ago. And I've been making pizzas back in the day. I'd go there, and now we're able to raise money for them. So I've teamed up with the Giants every year. I'll team up with two ball players. They'll create a pizza. We sell those pizzas. They sell it for X amount of dollars at a slice house. The dollar gets donated throughout the year, and we, do a check presentation at the end of the year. It's gone from 10,000, 20,000 to 50,000. That this year could possibly be 60,000, and it's been great because the more slice houses there are, the more you can donate, and it's great for that organizations. Family House is another organization that I go. So there's George Mark Children's House, there's Family House, there's the Marin Food Center, Marin Food Bank. So yeah, over the years I've kind of done a lot. The pizza festival that I have, the Pizza Bagel and Beer Festival, which will be this August 17th in North Beach. We donate to 5 different charities. One of them, Spiced Out Hunger in New York, which is run by Scott Wiener, not Senator Scott Wiener, but a different Scott Wiener in New York, and some other local organizations. So, my mom always gave back. Something she always had. She always had a $2 bill in her pocket or $2 in her pocket, and she would always give it to somebody, a homeless or something like that. My dad would always comment on it. Mom has $2, she's going to give it away. And my mom was just very thoughtful woman. She was an amazing lady. And I think we have to look at giving more as much as we make. I'm in a position now that I'm able to give more than I was. And if I wasn't giving back in the day, I was tossing pizzas with kids that never made pizzas before. And we had a fun day with it. So whatever we can do in the charitable world, we try to. So.
Absolutely remarkable. Okay, so we're coming up close to the time, but Tony, please share and talk a little bit about the vision you have for the future of Tony Gemignani Restaurant Group.
Well, a lot going on. I have a new restaurant coming that I can't really announce yet. I wish I could, but it's coming. And it's kind of an iconic spot in San Francisco, which is great. Slice House is really big. Obviously that is the biggest. I've tried to slow things down in my career to focus on slice houses. But I signed a 3-year deal with Princess Cruise Liners. I'm their celebrity pizza chef. We create a menu together that is an elevated pizza menu that's going to be available on several cruise ships, especially the one that's going to launch coming up in October called Sun Princess. That's their newest fleet, their newest ship on their fleet. That's amazing. So I'll be there, and that's going to be pretty awesome. And I have a new rolling pin that I'm working on a patent on that is going to get hopefully processed at least as a pending patent this month. And you're going to probably see that almost like it's a rolling pin that's for somebody that's trying to learn how to stretch out pizzas and has trouble with it. It's a special type of rolling pin that's made for like the beginning of the process, which everyone has trouble with. I'm working on that. And that will be in some stores that will be nationwide. I can't really say yet. So there's some cool stuff. I mean, I have a flour line, I have a tomato line, I have a hot pepper oil line that you see on Amazon. You're able to see it. So I kind of like do different things. And, I think a big part of my life is my son and seeing him play soccer and kung fu and basketball and flag football. So I think watching him is a big part of the future too.
Absolutely. I mean, really, those are the moments we all do everything we do for, right? I mean, it's the
Yeah.
kids. Tony, thank you so much for making the time to share your story, and welcome to the Inland Empire. We hope to see many, many more locations here locally. Thank you again for making the time to share your story.
Thank you. No, we're excited to be here. Can't wait for more to open up in Inland Empire.
Perfect. All right. For everybody listening, don't forget to find us on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Check us out on scbrtalk.com. And don't miss my interview with Aquanetta Warren, mayor of the city of Fontana, who was elected as mayor in December of 2010 and reelected in 2014, 2018, and 2022. Aquanetta Warren is serving her fourth term as the mayor of the city of Fontana. She focuses her administration on bolstering economic development, creating educational opportunities, improving public safety, and advocating for a healthier community, as well as Mr. Philip Burns.